OMG. WTF? LOL. What's up, everybody? Stephen Gray here. First off, a huge apology to all of you for the massive delay in getting this podcast out. I recorded this podcast with Adam Moon, over a week ago, and I fully intended to have it out on Friday of last week. But life intervened. I had a work trip that was supposed to be overnight that lasted 3 days, that pushed right into a holiday weekend where everyone and their dog had things for me to do socially and practically for work. So apologies, it took forever to get this out, but at long last, here we are. And this was a really fun conversation. Adam Moon is an interesting dude. I've known him for a while now, and we've always had a good relationship, but we've never hung out very much. This podcast was an excuse for us to finally get together, hang out, spend some time, and just have a really fun conversation. You can find Adam on Instagram at Coach Moon, COACHMOON, and he is a photographer who for a long time described himself as a, quote, photographer of delectable perversions, end quote. He's a guy whose art makes him a little bit misunderstood, and you're going to find out why. He's a great dude, we had a great talk, and I hope you enjoy. Here we go, 004, Adam Moon. And 3, 2, 1, here we are. Adam, you doing all right?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you coming out tonight because it's really fun having you over here. It's been a while since we talked, so it's cool to get caught up and do this.
We talked about the crazy dames.
Yeah, our last face-to-face was about one model in particular that she gave off every weird vibe on the planet.
Yeah, she gave out most of them for sure.
Yeah. I think your quote in a message was nuttier than a gay porno at one point. That stuck out to me. That was the first time I'd heard that expression.
Or nuttier than a squirrel turd, maybe.
Also that. I think they both came up because she needed it. But, yeah, so at one point, you might remember, there was like an anonymous Tumblr question that went your way, asking when you were going to revive your band. Remember that?
Yeah, so mildly. That was a long time ago.
Album, yeah, that was me asking that, because some dude told me, yeah, I heard Adam, he was in a band called Fudge Pop.
Yeah, I used to be in a band called Fudge Pop with my brother, and actually all of my brothers, and Eric Jones from Revolver Records. He was our drummer. And this other cat named Ian Johnny Cash Fuller. But I came in kind of at the tail end of the band.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I played with them. Sure, I was in the band. We opened up for Bad Brains. We opened up for the Flaming Lips. The original lineup got banned from the boardwalk on Pensacola Beach, actually, for playing naked and having a girl dancing in a cage. Oh, so, there's always that.
Oh, man. So, like, you've been in Pensacola forever, and, like, maybe I should backtrack. Like, you're known for your photography, even though that's not like how you make your money. It's like it's kind of created a name for you,
right?
And like you've always done your own thing. You've always been like really big into shooting film, shooting at specific times of day, and you've done like some of the most interesting work that, at least that I see coming out of this area.
Thanks,
like
man.
There's a lot of people trying to compete for the boudoir fashion space, or at least the social media space for the attention. Yeah, and I feel kind of the same way. It's like, but you've always like done your own thing. So I've like, even though we don't talk super often, I've always really enjoyed like following your work because it's always your stuff. It's never aping anybody else. It's just you.
I kind of get sucked into the wave sometimes, like because I've done it for so long, and I've gotten like I was raised long before social media, so I never even had that to think about or rely on in any aspect of my photography. It's only within like the last, 5 or 6 years where it's really played any real relevance. So I never really looked at photography as something to be approved of by someone else. I always looked at it as something that I enjoyed doing, and it brought me great satisfaction. But I was never really that good at it. I was just kind of like technically proficient, but creatively I was too working class or something. And I've always really enjoyed it, but I kind of get sucked into the wave of like a lifestyle shoot or something like that. And people approach me and I go, okay, yeah, you got a great look. And then, as things progress, it's like it turns into like this very contrived sort of not natural shoot, which I don't like really being a part of. I'm not good at it. I feel like it's a pressure thing that I'm not really familiar with, and it's a feat that I'm not really trying to accomplish.
Yeah, well, and at that point, it's no longer your vision. Like
right.
you're compromising it, even though it's still like your you're doing it, but you're not taking the influence from you. You're like drawing it from the outside.
Right.
And like I run into that a little bit. I just did like my first personal shoot in forever last week or week before last. I don't even know what day it is, but I shot some yogis out in Naval Live Oaks. You know, some great acro yoga, standard style yoga. You know, on the ground and like stacked up on each other. And like to ask them to do it, I had to like show them some stuff. Like these are some shots I liked from different people. Like what's her name, Nude Yoga Girl on Instagram, does some of the coolest like photography, silhouettes and everything of yoga, and I want it to be very like form oriented, so I sent them those shots. But then I get out there to shoot and I'm having to like consciously put those shots out of my head, so I'm not just copying what I've seen. And then I was like halfway through and I realized, oh crap,
I'm just copying.
Yeah, so like I was able to pull out and, you know, get it the way I wanted it to be, but it was it's funny how that works. If you just like, if you look to the right or the left, like one time too many, it can screw you up for like weeks.
It can screw you up bad, and that really will. You know, I've seen your work from like kind of from day one, really. Like I remember Model Mayhem days, and I've seen some of the stuff that you shot yours, and some of the stuff is like I can tell when it's more you shooting it as opposed to when it's like someone else, like sort of overpowering whatever it is that you had in mind. And like the one that, well, some of the things that really come to mind is stuff that you shot with Kathleen, Cat-a-tat-tat.
Yeah.
Like the stuff in the parking garage with that long shadow of her legs going up. Like to me, that's just, like that's mind-blowing. I love stuff like that, you know, because it's a non-traditional photograph, but it's still really well executed and, you know, really well received. And I mean, it's nice, you know, when you take a picture for other people to enjoy it as well. You don't just want it to be, oh, I love it, and what do you mean you hate it? You're stupid, you know?
Yeah.
You can't really do that. But I mean, it's so hard these days. Everyone's a photographer, and everyone's got a camera.
Yeah, I mean, ideas are still where it's at, and
Yeah.
you know, and that one shot you mentioned of Kathleen's is like one of my favorites that I've ever taken. Like everyone likes it, and I like it, so I think I still have it displayed on my site somewhere. But even that shot was like a happy accident, because like I was just trying to get like
They all are.
yeah, I know. It's like I took that picture and then it looked kind of good, and then I thought, well, maybe, and I just flipped it 180 degrees and it became a totally different picture, and I was like, whoa, not touching it.
Yeah.
You know, hands off.
Yeah.
You know? So, but then, you know, coming back to your work, like when I first got into photography, I was maybe like, got my first camera when I was 16, and then by the time I was 17, I was starting to like explore a little bit and try to figure out what I liked doing. And that was when I got into Model Mayhem, became aware of your work. And your work was so edgy. I thought you were like a 20-something hipster someplace. Like I had no idea you had been like doing this for as many years as you have.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And like every one of your shots that you choose, and I know you're like, you seem to be really selective, like what goes on your social media. So like every association I have with you has always been, every shot looks like one of those beautiful happy accidents where you were just there at the right moment. And I know you're shooting to get those moments, but like your curation of your work just is like nothing but winners every time I look at it.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't really shoot a whole lot. When I go out and shoot, I don't shoot a whole lot of pictures. Even if I shoot digital, I don't shoot a whole lot because I grew up shooting film, and you don't shoot a whole lot. You know, you don't go out and shoot 1,000 pictures and hope you get 10 good ones. You go out and shoot 200 pictures and hope you get 10 good ones, you know? So you that's why kind of why I prefer like very specific moments in very specific locations. And that's also why the model the person doesn't really matter. You know, it could be a crab or a coffee cup. It would still be the same sort of beautiful picture. If I can add a beautiful form into it, that's great. But, you know, like I said before, the creativity aspect of photography, I never really got on. I never really caught on with me until I started shooting digital. I just stuck with film, and I was always crappy at it, and I had horrible pictures. And then I picked up digital, and it allowed me to learn a creative process and apply all the technical knowledge that I had about photography on top of that, which just allowed me to go, okay, we can walk out here at this time of day on this day, and you're going to do these things, and these pictures are going to be amazing. It's going to be like the sky's on fire, and this is going to happen, this is going to happen. They'll be like, oh, great. And then we do it, and it happens, you know. But you're right, it is a process of happy accidents because you're dealing with someone who isn't necessarily a model. So a lot of times where you catch them at is sort of an in-between moment when all of because everything throughout, like a 20-minute period of a frame of pictures is going to look the same, with the exception of what the model's doing, more or less, in terms of like, light, temperature, and things like that.
Right.
And that's why I love those times today.
Yeah. I mean, it shows. I mean, it's like all these honey tones in the background. Just that beautiful golden light at the beginning and the end of the day. And I did want to ask you, like, when did you pick up photography? Like, I know you've been doing it for a while, but
I was probably 9 years old.
Really?
9 or 10 years old when I first started taking pictures. Yeah. Like my mom was divorced, and I remember I still have one of the pictures that I took of her, like one of the first ones. I think she's with our Great Danes, and I think that's where I started. I think that was when I started, and I kind of kept up throughout the all the years, 35 millimeters, Polaroids, Discman, Instamatics, all these crazy, just weird, crazy formats of film, and then like late 80s, early 90s, I kind of took a break, got out of it. And then moving into the thousands, I picked up a digital camera, and I was still shooting film occasionally, but I picked up a digital camera, and the artistic aspect of it began to come around and made it easier for me to shoot, and it made me want to go do it, so I could learn to do these things.
And you still returned to film, which was the cool thing, is that like at one point that last time I ran into you, like you said something about you just picked up like a new roll, like 120 film or something at the time, and that stood out to me because it's like so few people do that still, because like it's labor intensive, it's expensive, and I know in our case in Pensacola it's getting harder to get it processed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
but
breaking
that's
cameras, and the other thing about film is, especially because film is so expensive these days, and everybody's sort of capitalizing on the hipster sort of moniker that goes along with shooting film,
Right.
Oops.
No, you're good.
Okay. That tremolo. But it's not even that film is expensive to process, but it's expensive to buy. You used to be able to go out and buy lots of 30, like stuff like this on eBay all day long, boxes of 80 rolls for $50. Some of it works, some of it doesn't, but
right.
It's hard to do that these days because it's all picked over.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have much luck on eBay, like buying lots of expired film or anything, or do you just not even bother with that?
No, I still do from time to time. Like if I get really low, I'll go, okay, let's see what I've got, or like if I get an injection of cash. If I get an injection of cash, if I get a stimulus package.
Where do you find those? I'm looking myself.
The last one, I was just thinking, when was the last time I got a good injection of cash? And that was the BP 2011.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That carried my film career for a while, actually.
Those were the salad days.
Those were the salad days right there. Did you get a payout?
I didn't, but my dad owned his own business, so he and my mom got a massive payout that paid off a ton of debt on the business and kept them afloat for the next year. Yeah,
good for them.
Yeah, I was still a student then, so I had no right to claim anything. Yeah.
Summer job, I think all those lawns you don't get to mow.
Yeah, I was teaching karate back then actually, and like that stayed pretty stable through BP because it was just it was down in Midway, Highway 98, not really a huge fluctuation there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a crazy time.
Shoot, we had just opened the in April or in February, and the oil spill was in April, so we got paid.
Well, I'm glad you did. It's awesome. And you're
thanks.
still there in the mornings, right?
Yeah, I go in at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
because
like
food and then go home.
Yeah, because I knew that your sunrise photo every morning. Like I know that doc.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you're still going there out of habit or if you were still involved in the restaurant.
No, I only when I'm there do I go there and take the picture. Like some days I'll go to the beach. If I go, oh, it's going to be beautiful at the beach. It's going to be flat and glassy, or there's going to be a little bit of waves or whatever. I'll take it at the beach. Or because I live right on the bus, I just go down there and take it. Or for my backyard or whatever. But yeah, I got some spots.
You and your cats. I love that every morning. Like I actually have an alert set for it because I love your sunrise photos.
Yeah.
So every morning, like I go to the gym first thing in the morning, so I get out and I'm like, whoop, there's the sunrise today.
All right,
like,
great, cool. I'm out of here. Well, I do have one of my cats. She's like I've got 3 of my own, and my girlfriend's got 2, so we got 5 total. And I have one that never wants to come inside. She just lives outside, and she follows me. She'll go down to the train tracks with me. She'll go down to wherever. She'll like climb up on my shoulders and everything. She's like the best cat in the world, man.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I keep up. We got we rescued a box of kittens at work the other day, and we adopted out 3 of them. We kept 2 for the office. I'm trying to train them to like sit on my shoulders while I work, but they're not into it, so I'm a little disappointed about that.
Maybe not as kittens though. They want to run around and learn things and explore things. But I mean, she didn't do this as a kitten. I got her trained to do other things, and I got her to like want to do things like jump. I would set up like a series of boxes and chairs and stuff around my house, and I would tap these things, and she would jump from each one to each one. And I would take a box that was kind of like it was fairly tall and not that big around, and I would tap the top of the box, and she would like stand up on her back legs to see if she can see in it, and then she would just leap straight up and land in this box. And it would, be 3 foot tall and, maybe, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 inches square. It was pretty nuts to watch.
Nice.
Yeah. Cats are crazy, and you can train them to do things, but they have to want to do the things.
Right. So, like, I guess for, cats already want to jump and climb, so I guess you're just kind of like directing that energy.
Right. Yeah. Directing it and sort of like orchestrating how I want her to do it.
Nice.
Yeah. But she's the only one that's ever listened, so.
You got the 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so, I mean, your sunrise photos, coming back to that, what made you want to start that as a series? Because you've been doing that for what, 3, 4
This is the 5th year.
5th year?
Fifth
oh
year,
my gosh.
man. I just started my 5th year a few days ago.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't really want to start it. I never wanted to do that. That's such a task, it seems like, to take a picture of the sunrise every day for 5 friggin' years. But I was at work, and I, like, oh, I'm gonna go watch the sunrise. I love the sunrise. It's one of my favorite times of day because it's just like you're just there, and it's just you and the sun, and there's nobody else around,
Right.
Whereas sunset, everybody sees the sunset. You see it at every bar on the beach,
Right.
and 9,000 restaurant customers at the Grand Mall, and are all looking out the window going, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And it's like, yeah, bitches, but I got sunrise for myself. But I just took a picture one day because it was really nice. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do a project, a 365 project. And then, the year rolled by and I'm still working and still seeing the sunrise. I was like, other people like it too. I might as well just keep doing it. And here we are, 5 years in.
Now, are you still doing that for you? Like, is it still something you enjoy, or is it just something that's just become a habit at this point?
Well, I'm a creature of habit. I will beat a dead horse. Like, I will literally sit there and beat it until my arms fall off. That's just the way I am. And I think that's why my pictures are always so the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and not just the sunrise ones, but even my regular photography. You can just look at a picture and go, that's moons,
Yeah.
But it's just it's become a habit, but I still enjoy doing it. I mean, it's still beautiful pictures. I still meet people. I finally sold, in all of these years, I finally sold a photograph.
Really?
Yes, finally, through Instagram, of a sunrise picture
Nice.
to a lovely woman named Ashley.
That's fantastic. I can't believe that's the first photo you've ever sold.
Yeah, first one I've ever sold. But I don't really try to sell them. I don't push them. I've never set up an Etsy. I've never done any of that. I always threaten to. I've got probably 50 pounds of film photography of naked chicks in my house right now that I could easily get lots of money for, but I'm just too... That's not what I'm interested in,
Yeah.
I just want to take the photographs. I want someone else to do that for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what's kept your style so pure over the years, that you haven't been motivated by anything else but what you want to do.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
like, your stuff runs the gamut from, like, nature, naked in nature, frolicking on the beach, to, like, in a bathtub full of milk, with Christmas lights overhead or something, or a projector putting something.
I love
over
the
them.
projector stuff.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool, but I mean, it's kind of goofy and cliche, but so what? It's super cool, And that's the thing I think about repetition when I say I beat a dead horse, because I will do that. And finally, I've had close friends go, enough with the milk bath moon. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but they're still cool, though. I
They
mean,
are still
I
cool.
don't
You
hate
can
it.
designate the coolness, but I'm just not going to do it anymore, or at least
Yeah.
for a while until I get over it,
Yeah.
Or I see another cool one, I go, man, I want to do something like that one. I
Yeah.
saw one with lemons in them, and I'm like, okay, so let me think. Pomegranates, and I can get like pomegranate juice for the milk, and then I could do like a really, because I use powdered milk anyway, that way you can adjust the color, depthness of the water.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get a little sponsorship from Palm Juice in there for the pomegranates.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
The little banners around the tub.
Send me a case. I'll pimp it out.
That would would be funny.
No, so how much of your work these days is like you trying new things or just the people you work with that want to try something? I mean, are you still trying to innovate or are you just kind of doing you at this point?
Well, I started like maybe a year ago, started shooting through prisms and stuff like that. Like it's easy to do with the sunrise picture because the lens that you're dealing with is only this big, but you get to a camera and especially like I don't shoot anything up close. Like the smallest lens I have is a 75 to 120. And then my next up is a 500 millimeter mirror lens. And those are really like the two lenses that I shoot mostly outside. So it's really difficult to figure out how prisms shoot through these given different conditions. Like, is there sun? Because if there's sun, you're dealing with a different prismatic effect than if there isn't sun.
Yeah.
So I have to take all that into consideration. Also, how it works. Like that picture I posted this morning of Sydney in the water.
I love that session with her, by the way.
Oh,
Every
those
time-
are great. It was amazing. I had nothing to do with it. All I did was sit there and take a picture. I held a prism in front of it and took a picture, and she did the stuff, and nature did the thing, and all I did was press a button. I mean, that's kind of, to me, the way I feel about photography, because to me, it isn't anything. It's just me. People go, oh, this is beautiful sunrise. It's like, and I don't say thank you because I don't feel like I did anything. I didn't do anything. I just took a picture of it, which is nothing these days. Anyone can do it. Hold up your phone, take 10,000. But yeah, those pictures are some of my favorites, and I will tell you a little secret with all this rain. I was out there yesterday. Those ponds, all those little dune ponds are going to be amazing for probably about the next 3 or 4 days. So if you're into that sort of thing.
That's relevant to my interests, yeah.
But anyway, I started shooting with the prisms, which is just kind of a variation. I got a old film fisheye lens that I started shooting a little bit. I shot it with Kayleen. I shot it with like maybe 1 or 2 other people. It's just hard to work with because to me it's just so foreign from what I normally do. I mean, to shoot a wide angle, you have to be this far away from the people, and I'm used to being where I have to yell at these people across the field.
Yeah, I had no idea you shot so much on telephoto because like I was thinking somewhere in the 50 to 75 range with a wide aperture. I had no idea that there was so much telephoto involved.
Yeah, most of the stuff that I shoot is with the 500 millimeter. It's a fixed focal length f8 mirror lens that I shot on my because I have Olympus OM 1, 2, 3, and 4s. So I can shoot those old lenses on my camera. I have other lenses that I do use, but they're not as reliable. I've got some. I've got a really. There's an old. I don't even know who makes it. It's some Japanese off-brand name of lens, but it's for the old film camera. It's just a beautiful lens. It's got great glass, but it doesn't lock down, so it tends to fall off. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to fight with this lens anymore. Yeah. But I don't really try. I mean, I'm not trying to innovate. I'm 53 years old. What am I going to innovate?
Yeah. I mean, occasionally, like I see, like the prism thing. Like when you started doing that, I was like, "That's really cool." And now that Moon's doing it, everyone's going to try it. And
oh yeah, they started trying it.
Yeah.
And I, never mind. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we don't have to name any names. We can talk later. But I got my suspicions just by the look on your face.
Oh man. Oh, this town. But I can't really. Like, I think maybe 10 years ago, I sort of hated, or maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, I sort of hated that elopement process where people saw a thing that I was doing or, whatever. Because you're right, 7 or 8 years ago, it was just, what the hell is this guy shooting? Like Michael Smith, he said gave me one of the greatest compliments ever. He said every time I look at one of his photographs, I want to sneeze. Like, oh man, that is beautiful.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought, and I think he meant it as an insult. I don't know, but I thought that was one of the greatest compliments. But what was I talking about? We were talking about innovating stuff.
Yeah.
The wide angle stuff I'm trying to shoot more. And it's super fisheye. Like it's crazy. You have to be right up on it, and it still looks like you're 18 or 20 feet away, and I'm like, I don't want to step on it. What the hell's going on? The prism's hard to figure out though.
Yeah, but when it pays off, because like the stuff you've done, like it's still your photo.
Yeah.
But there's all those refractions of the subject, and just gets so intricate. It's just fun to look at.
Yeah.
It's like how many times can you go around and keep finding another image of this person?
I shot some stuff of Taylor at the river on film, reverse rolled with the prism, and it was just like, and I only had like 2 pictures that even came out on the whole thing, just because of the effects are so, it's hard to predict. I mean, did a leaf blow and then a little bit more sun came in, and then you got 9 more rays of light coming into your lens, sort of thing. But the 2 or 3 pictures is always worth it to me. It's like, God, this is so good.
Yeah.
But like you were talking about before, happy accidents.
Yeah.
The process is just a matter of everything has to line up perfectly for that happy accident to happen.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about shooting for personal fulfillment is that you don't have to like walk in feeling like you have to do things a certain way or demonstrate some sort of pretense of ability to this person. You kind of just do your own thing. If they don't like it, well, there's the card. You can go home. I mean, because one of my favorite stories from the commercial world was this one. It was attributed, I think it was Helmut Newton, and I know it was Helmut Newton, but I'm not sure how true this is. But the story I heard was that he was shooting for Vogue Italy, and it was a cover shoot, so like it had to be good. And he gave 7 images back on film to the editor. And they called him like in a fury saying, "You only gave us 7 images for a cover shoot." And just in his German accent, he fired back, "You only need one."
That's true. You only need one. Why do you need to take so many? You only need one. And, like you shoot more commercial stuff than I do. I've never shot any. I've shot for like a couple of magazines and like, catalog and things like that, but I've never really ventured in. I thought I would try it. I tried a couple of weddings, but I told you my horrible wedding story with film. I'm like, never again. I've done horrible. But, I don't. I used to really love to cook, and I hate it now. I kind of hate food now.
Really?
Yeah, kind of. But only because I've done it for so long. I don't really feel like I still have a passion to make things the best that I can because that's just a matter of personal achievement, but I don't go home and cook for myself. And I feel like that I thought about photography in that aspect. Do I want to ruin something else that I love doing? And photography, this is stupid. I'm not even going to say that. Okay, so, we never really had money growing up. I was always kind of poor. So we were, I always had a strong work ethic. I've always worked a lot. I've always worked hard. And I've always looked at art as something frivolous and not really necessary in the classic sense or in a traditional sense, I guess. But art becomes necessary if we are to maintain a civilization where we are to interact peacefully, I believe, with one another. So I think like the reason I failed artistically was because I was too working class or blue collar to build an artistic vision. I was never really instructed to or led to, it's like work, join the military, work. So that's what I did.
You joined the military?
Shh. That's what we're not going to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in. But we don't need to talk about it. I have not. No.
Well, no, I know your stances now, and like it makes no difference to me because people change over time. So so like your views now, I don't judge you by what you did back then or what you did, whatever. Like I didn't peg you for any kind of military dude. So
well, the reason I am the way I am is because of the military, and we'll go into we can talk about that, but I don't want to talk about that.
We don't have to go into it.
No, not on mic. We can discuss it if you like. It's an interesting tale. It's an interesting story, but
it legitimately startled me. I was like, whoa, what?
Well, that's what you did. If there weren't a lot of options. You go work some crappy job or you join the military. Dad was in the military. So it's just followed suit. That's what you did.
And you came from a big family, right? Like
I have 3 brothers.
3 brothers.
Just, the 3 of us. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. But mostly though, sorry, Mom.
No, I wouldn't apologize for anything because, like, I don't know, it just, and like I get that, like, not being like raised to an artistic vision, but it came through nonetheless, which is cool because, like, even though you're not doing like a ton of commercial work, which personally, this is me editorializing here, I think it's kind of a crime because I feel like more people should see what you're doing. So I almost wish you would, but at the same time, like we said earlier, you're doing it for you is what kept it so pure and unique, but it's still like that whole nature versus nurture thing. Like, even though you weren't raised to like enjoy art as like a full-time pastime, it still came through, which is really cool to me, especially me being so much younger, just seeing how like you can hang on to some part of yourself that just reveals itself over time,
Well, I didn't really hang on. It hung on to me. Like if you ever talk to Kathleen, ask her about it. I kind of hate it. I kind of hate that I'm driven to do it. Like I write, I paint, I do all these things, or I have done all these things, and like Kathleen has even said, your writing is better than it's better than anything else that you do. But I hate writing too. It's all kind of silly to me. It's all just a little frivolous. But where am I going with this? The things that I was kind of an emo when I was a kid. I was a sad little emo kid, that whole thing. But we didn't know it was sad emo. You were just a weird kid.
Adam, you should smile more.
Shut up. I don't know how. Or I got ugly teeth or whatever it was. There were all these things. But those things do sort of build who you are. And all of my brothers, like, none of us are idiots by any means. We're all fairly clever. And we all do sort of have a squashed artistic vision. However much we've let it rise to the surface, that's sort of an individual thing. And I always kind of let mine go. I always let my freak flag fly earlier than anybody else did, for sure. But I've always loved photography, even when I try to fight it and go, God, I hate this. I hate doing it. I hate having to fight the weather. I hate having to fight, stupid ideas and people who don't show up and, PayPal that doesn't go through and just, I just, certain aspects of it I really hate, but that's not the part that is photography. And my girlfriend and I, we had a little falling out back in November because I was scandalous, but nothing too scandalous, but still relatively scandalous. And I was like, you know what? I really do need to back off the photography. What is my purpose in doing this? What is my purpose in continuing to do this stuff? If I'm not selling it and I'm not making a lot of money in it, what is the actual purpose of doing it? And I have to think really, kind of hard about that. What is the purpose of it? Is it just to meet people? Is it just to put something on the internet? Is it just to sort of maintain some sort of relevance in the universe? I don't know. Is that why I do I look at this stuff long and hard, like, why am I still doing this? This is stupid.
Is it the kind of thing where I know, like, for me and, my wife Annie has done theater and production design and stuff in the past. Excuse me. Is it one of those things where, like, for me, it's been, I've got this idea in my head that won't go away. And the only way to, like, sleep at night is going to be to, like, capture it in some form. Because, like, I've also done a little bit of writing, dabbled in independent filmmaking, done photography for the last 11 years. But when I'm shooting for myself, it's like sometimes I'm just trying to, like, shut the voices in my head down a little bit. Do you ever feel any of that? Or is it just
the voices in my head?
Well,
noisy bastards. No, I get what you're saying. There is a drive to do something. Like, you get sort of pent up. And even if you don't execute the specific idea that you may have, like, I don't have it. To me, it's not ideas driven. To me, it's process driven. And I guess the idea can stem from the process, or who is, how the process becomes. It's just someone else that's going to come along. How is that interaction going to go down? Is there a process? But yeah, I get you on the voices inside your head. It's not like, it's not like they're telling you to go kill people, but
right.
You have to go do this thing, whether you kind of want to or not. Yeah, there's a drive to it. Yeah,
it's like a song you can't get out of your head, so you got to sing it.
Yeah.
It's like
and annoy every other person in the room with it until it's stuck in their head too. And you go, all right, now I can let it go. I feel like I've annoyed every person in this room.
I do that at work a lot. Like, I'll start humming something under my breath, and they'll go, "Thanks, Steven. It's in my head now." And I'm like, "You're welcome."
You're welcome. It's out of mine.
No, actually, I saw a really great meme on Facebook a while back. It was a picture of Jack Nicholson, and he was, like, doing his shark grin. Looks like he just came out of a windstorm. And it probably wasn't his quote, but someone just put on there, "I know the voices in my head aren't real, but man, they come up with some good ideas."
It's true, they really do, And I'm glad I didn't listen to them much when I was younger, and I'm glad I kind of waited till I was older. But I'm also glad I kept up with all the processes throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to know, oh, okay, I can pick up mostly any camera and just kind of roll with it now. It's kind of cool.
I mean, it is cool. Like, I feel like that's the benefit that you have that, like, people my age sometimes have the option to, but don't do. And, like, I'm not near, I would not call myself a film photographer by any stretch of the imagination. I have a few rolls in my fridge that I've had for about 6 months, and some friend gave them to me when he was cleaning out his garage. And, like, when I have the time and the brain space, yeah, it's fun to go shoot film. If I have an extra $8 on me, I'll go get it developed. But then, like, if I want to put it online, I got to scan it. It's like, it's this whole thing. And, like, you don't take out a roll out of your wallet anymore, you know? So even just to get it on my phone to show someone, I still got to go through that whole process. And sometimes I just don't have the energy. I have shots I took in India 3 years ago that are still cut up for scanning in a folder that I haven't taken out yet because I just, like, I love some of those pictures. I know they're going to be good, but I so dread that process.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And as technology, invades our space, it becomes like desktops are dead, more or less.
Pretty
Desktop
much.
computers. I still have one, and I'll still buy another one, but that's because, and I try to keep up. To me, I think that maybe that the repetition of always doing it helps. That way you don't ever hit that cycle of dread. But I hit it, shooting film, and it's like, oh God. Like, I have some roles I know at the house. It's like, I don't even know who's on these things anymore. I have no idea. And one day I'll just take them all in and get them all developed. I'll be like, oh yeah, her. Oh yeah, this. So, but then I go, God, now I gotta scan them because Kelly doesn't do discs. So, yeah, it's a hassle, man. It's a process. It is. And I know what you mean about, you can't really, people want to know how to shoot film without really having to learn how to shoot it, I feel like. But if you've got prints from India that are on film, dude, go do that. Just go do it, man.
I got some time this weekend. I'm going to do it for you and text it to you.
I'll send a girl over for you, okay? I'll send a scanner over.
You got a temp? That's awesome.
Actually, you know what? Well, never mind. I won't say that on the air. You're going to shoot, are you shooting with Caprice soon?
We talked about it. It's not going to happen like in the near future because I just got a $445 bill to repair my car today.
Ooh.
So, which reminds me, I need to message her. That's going to be another few weeks before we can do that. But no, I did message her a couple weeks ago. I forget. I was talking to Marcus, the doorman over at Old Hickory.
Yeah.
Apparently he knows her, and like he said, hey, do you know Caprice? And I was like, Caprice? He's like, yeah, Arian on Instagram. I was like, oh, I know of her. Haven't talked to her yet. So based on that was kind of my springboard. So I probably ought to start that dialogue and just like set something up at some point because she seems really cool, and I've heard she's really nice.
She's pretty cool. She's really nice, and I think that you hit her up probably the same day that you hit me up about doing the podcast because she texted me and she goes, hey, do you know this Stephen Gray character? I'm like, funny thing, he just asked me to be on a podcast. And then she's like, oh, LOL, well, I guess you do know him then. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. He's cool. Definitely shoot with him.
Well, I appreciate the good word.
Yeah, no problem.
I know she does it professionally, but I know there's still always that, coming from your hometown. Like, Pensacola either goes, like, really good or really bad. There's very little, like, in the middle.
Well, I think she is mostly based out of here now. Like, I'm not trying to, like, air her laundry. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think she's based out of here now.
She's pretty consistent geotagging her Instagram photos.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot more concentrated, like, just says downtown Pensacola a lot lately. Although it was funny, we were almost in New York at the same time last year. Like, I was up there over Thanksgiving, and like the day I left was the day she pulled into Brooklyn and was like tagging Brooklyn and a whole bunch of cool shots she was taking up there. So it was like,
that's pretty funny.
She was one of 3 people from this area that was up there at the same time I was that I almost shot with.
Who were the other 2?
There was some girl, her first name was Joy, and she had just moved up to Pensacola to New York, and somehow we had like dialogue to shoot at some point and just hadn't happened. Then she moved up to New York, and the next thing I know, I'm going up there. So I was like, hey, and we were gonna do something, but she had some sort of conflict that came up last minute.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, and then there was like one other person. I can't remember who it was, but it was someone else. And then a buddy of mine from Pensacola, Josh Insinius, had moved back up there a little while ago. So like I was hanging out with him as a Pensacola person. Then over Christmas, he's back down here bringing his New York friends here. So it's like this weird little circle we keep making between the 2 cities.
That would be funny, though, if you had went up there and shot with 2 models from Pensacola.
Man.
In New York. That would be great. That would be pretty funny.
That would be a good story. Have you heard Rick Altson's theory about weird news in Pensacola? He says, you give me any news of the weird story from anywhere in the country, and I will find a tie to Pensacola. It's always there.
Florida man.
Yes. Oh, I love Florida man. Like I told people, I'm so proud to be from this state because we have like all the weird stuff, but also all the good weird stuff. You know? It's
this isn't just a recent thing either. We've always had this. Like back in the day, we used to kill Florida, we used to kill tourists on the, like, we would just shoot them on the interstate coming through the state line. I think there was like 14 tourists over the course of a summer that just got picked off by rifles and handguns on the interstate. It's like, go Florida.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have a working theory about Florida, and that's that, like, you imagine the continental U.S. is a table, and Florida is the corner with a short leg, and everything keeps rolling down here.
That's kind of true, man.
Yeah.
That's actually very true. Man.
It's like when I used to work with that real estate team, I would take people like on neighborhood tours, like someone would come from out of town to interview for a job, and it'd be some corporate gig where they would have relocation assistance. So the company would give us a call and say, hey, so-and-so is interviewing for such and such. Pick them up their hotel, show them something nice just to fill their time while they're here and make them see where they could live. And even though personally I'm kind of in that don't move here category because I think we're getting a little bit too big.
Yeah.
But,
I'll give you one of my stickers before I leave.
All right. Oh, do you have some of those? I think I know the one.
Yeah, I've got one in my bag.
Nice. I would love that. I would always like just tell them, say, so you're in Florida now. We're a little bit different. You know, when we get bored, we kind of strip naked, get high on methamphetamines, and walk across the interstate to go get a pub sub. You know, I mean, you're in that area now.
That's true, man. You know, I really wish that people didn't really like Florida as much as they do. Like, they hate on it for whatever reason because it's weird and hot, and we have all the bugs and mosquitoes and snakes and whatever.
Gators keep eating people.
Yeah, and gators keep eating people, and God. This place is so crazy. But anyway, but they all want to move here, you know? Like, there's so many people on the beach now. You can't even get out there. Like, if on the weekends, if you're trying to get to the beach and it's after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, forget it, man. It's going to take you a long time. You're going to sit in traffic. And it's like, you know, 3 out of every 5 plates are from out of town.
Yeah, and usually it's someone from Texas who can't drive. The Texans have gotten worse than the Alabamians, you know?
I know. They're like the new Alabama.
Yeah.
Texas is the new Alabama.
Yeah, and like, no offense to individuals from Alabama, because I have a lot of good friends from there, but all my good friends from there left, and I feel like they left for a reason.
They didn't go to Texas, did they?
No,
All right.
they came here for the surf.
Oh, okay.
or lack thereof, but they came here for the beaches.
Hey, we have surf occasionally.
Occasionally.
Like, out of this whole, whatever, 5 or 6 days of surf that we're having, we'll probably get maybe 6 hours total of really great surf. Mm-hmm. The rest was just like a surfing in a washing machine.
Yeah, because I know I had like one guy I work with. He's a big surfer. He's one of the single fin dudes. You know, he's there all the time, and he took a day off work when the tropical storm came in to get in some surf.
Oh, that's pretty funny. What day?
I think it was Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good day. Wednesday was better, but you had to go to Panama City.
Yeah.
And it was just a zoo.
I can only imagine. Yeah, Panama City's an interesting place.
Yeah.
It's got like a few of those, speaking of old Florida, it's got kind of those like old Florida roadside attraction vibes still going on down there.
Yeah. I need to go down there and hang out a little bit. We got that new restaurant down there too. I'll go down there and check it out and just see what's going on in old Panama City.
Yeah, you go to the Ripley's, believe it or not, they say they have a lock of Marilyn Monroe's hair.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, the fun stuff.
I'll be sure to take a selfie with that. Hey, what up, Marilyn Monroe's pubic hair?
No, I went there with a part of work because we have to write some local guides for the hotels in that area. So I went with a buddy of mine who's got like this hilariously dry sense of humor.
Oh,
like,
God.
Got out of the Navy to go back to school, you know, and we're pulling in, and he's like, yeah, man, you can't like pretend you're here for any other reason. You can't say you're here to turn around. People know when you're going to Ripley's.
Well, there were a lot of people there, though? Like, was it pretty popular? We
got there in the morning before there was a crowd, and because we were there for, like, you know, to review it for business, they kind of just let us go through and just walk through. But we got out probably around 10 or 11, and, like, that was when people were just lined up to the door. Like, this crowd came in. I don't know if they were there for the 4D theater or laser tag or for the actual oddities themselves, but like they just bum rushed the counter, you know.
Holy cow.
So I mean, you got a rainy day and 3 kids who won't shut up. You got to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's very true. Make them cook meth in the hotel bathtub, man.
They're
Getting
in
the
Florida.
Spirit of the locals.
There's already enough of that going on.
Was it? I think it might have been. Who was it? Stephen Colbert, maybe. No, it was DeSuze and Miro. These 2 guys on Viceland, and they referred to Florida as the bathtub in which America cooks meth.
I like that a lot. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty true. That's pretty true.
We cook up some crazy down here. God. I love that. You know what's always been one of my dreams is to take like a week or 10 days and just drive old Highway 23 and turn south and just like document all the old hotels that haven't been torn down yet. Like totally condemned, boarded up, but still like you can see like the 1950s ghosts.
That would be amazing, man.
I've always
that would
wanted
be
to
good.
do that.
Take some time off.
I need to, because like I have a very generous amount of time to take off at work, and I've been looking for something to do with it, so I might do that. You want to do a road trip?
I don't get time off. I get 3 or 4 days off in a row. Like, you can't get a vacation. I'm like, come on, guys, really? Plus, I got 6 cats. Where am I going to go?
Yeah, but you got a roommate. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Girlfriend, not roommate.
Well, you use them interchangeably earlier. I'm trying not to like air all your private laundry.
Oh no, it's cool. It's totally cool. Let's air it, man. Let's air it. No, I'm just kidding. Let's not air it.
No, but no, I just always thought that'd be cool because like my dad and his family moved down here in like 1961, before Gulf Breeze was incorporated.
Yeah.
And so we've been here forever. And my dad remembers taking those road trips, going down south and like Weeki Wachee and Manatee Springs, Crystal Springs. A few years back, he and I went scuba diving in some of the springs down the Big Bend area. Just like gorgeous spots, and still so much like of that old, totally itself Florida history
Yeah,
that is
Florida history.
It's starting to disappear. That's one reason I love Apalachicola so much. Is you ever go there?
Yeah, I go there occasionally, but like I said, I don't really have the time off really
Yeah.
to go do that. And you're sitting here talking about it, and I have done it. I've done it all before, but I'm like, God, I really need to do that. A, before it's all gone, and B, before I die again. Or before I die.
Die again?
Die again. Well,
So is that rumor true?
No, but before I die,
Yeah.
I would love to do it again.
Yeah.
Like we used to drive down to Disney World and all that stuff when I was a little kid. We used to take the family vacations down there and everything. And I was like, man, I really need to do that because you're right. It's going to be gone soon.
Yeah. I mean,
That's sad.
and it's sometimes faster to go on the old highways than the interstate because there's like nothing there anymore. It's, I mean, construction aside, you go on these old roads, it's like, yeah, you'll go through a little town, population 13 occasionally, but most of the time there's just boarded up motels and a lot of swamps.
Open highway.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, when I talk about seeing the ghosts of the 50s, I mean, you look at this place and like you can just blink and you feel like when you open your eyes again, you're going to see like paint and people and like see it as it was because they are so unique, and so identifiable as part of this area.
Well, Florida, I mean, like, I'm not really versed in Florida's history, but we've got a very distinct culture, and you're talking about these highways, and I think about like Mariana being, it was the crazy house when I was a kid, and it still is they still have the crazy house down there, I think about these little things like that, Weeki Wachee, and all those things. It's like, God, these are all going to be gone.
Yeah.
They're all going to be gone soon. You guys need to go see all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like all three of you who listen to this, take
Right,
a road trip.
My girlfriend, Annie, and one of your other buddies.
Yeah. I think I have 2 buddies who might listen to it, so that puts us up to 4 or 5 now.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
Growing it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Now, is this your first one, or have you done them?
This is my 4th one. So I've done I did one kick around episode with my buddy Daniel, who should be joining us like any minute now. He was gonna make a Publix run. You want anything from Publix, by the way? I think he was gonna get a sub.
I'm good.
But and then my buddy Terry Strickland, who have you ever met Terry?
No, the name's familiar though.
He used to be the local reporter for the P&J, and then when they got bought out by Gannett, he jumped ship to go work in PR for a while.
See, he probably knows my brother Troy.
Oh yeah. He knows and likes your brother Troy.
And I might know Terry also.
You'd probably know him by sight if you saw him, but
Was he around for Hurricane Ivan when Ivan happened? Was he there?
Yeah,
still?
he's a local dude. So,
But was he still at the P&J?
Oh no, he's a couple years younger than me actually. He graduated college early, so he was here, but he was like in high school back then, so he wasn't like working then. But he's a interesting dude. I've done 2 sit down sessions with him on air. Great storyteller. But he is like totally into like Florida culture, Florida history, and you two get along like a house of fire.
Cool.
And he's the one I brought up Apalachicola because it's like one of those last untouched fishing villages,
Yeah.
still. And I like to go there anytime I have like a long weekend. I'll try to get out there. But I was introduced to it through Terry, who picked up some magazine assignments, and he and I knew each other in school, so like we stayed in touch. and he got these cool assignments to go photograph like oyster dinners and like stuff that put us in touch with the people who are like still farming the bay.
Yeah.
So I got introduced to it through taking pictures for magazines, and I've been going back ever since because it's just such a cool place. And,
Right.
like you go out to East Point and St. George Island, and it's like what Pensacola Beach was 30 years ago.
I know,
Just like
it's so
everything's
beautiful
low
out
to the
there.
ground. They haven't overbuilt. You know those
It's sad. Pensacola Beach is sad these days.
you know, if they move forward to those two new towers at Portofino, that's actually going to cap out the residential living units on the beach, and like that'll be it. No more houses, no more condos.
That'll be the 5th time I've heard that in my lifetime.
Really?
Yeah, man. That's always been the battle cry. This is the last house I'll ever be able to build on the beach. Well, I got some theories about that.
No, I do too. I thought this came from a reliable source, but it actually makes me feel better if I know they haven't hit the ceiling, because like I know I'm shooting myself in the foot because I work for a hotel company, but I do miss like low key Pensacola Beach, because like
Yeah.
I was just able to see the last gasp of it growing up with my dad going fishing in Big Sabine, and like it was just like cement block houses before Ivan, you know,
Yep.
and I still remember that a little bit. I'm just so glad I was
Hurricanes
able
roll
to see
through,
it.
you just hose it out, get all the sand out, put down new carpet, put in new
Yeah.
furniture, and wait for the next hurricane to blow it all out the back door again.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
That's why we like plastic chairs around here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And cinder block houses. Hello.
Yeah.
But
Well, and now, you know, they changed the building codes. So now if you're not grandfathered in, like anything built after 1978, you know, or even a rebuild, you know, has to be 8 or 9 feet above the ground.
yeah, I think that's the minimum too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's trying to go to maximum. Some of these places on the beach, man, it's like, why do you need a 9,000 square foot house on the beach? You know,
Yeah.
who needs that? It is. It's heartbreaking, you know, and I hate to see a piece of nature turned into a cash machine, because at some point you're going to hit a limit on that piece of nature becoming valuable.
Yeah.
You know, if you continue to build down the beaches, if you continue to dump oil in the Gulf of Mexico, if you continue to allow, you know, it's just frustrating, man. It's frustrating. And trying to get
Yeah.
through, trying to get out the beach, do all the traffic. They've got this new traffic thing going out there at the casino beach. Have you seen this?
I was out there the other day, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan, to be honest, because it's just too much room for error with that new route. Like
Yeah.
going through the parking lot that way, I'm always expecting some drunk to pull out of crabs and like fender bender me on the way in.
That's probably going to happen, you know. And I think the only people that are happy with it is Santa Rosa Island Authority. Apparently, it's just a cash cow because, you know, they're just getting tickets after tickets that people win them. Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard there was like no grace period for that. Like as soon as they initiated it, like any local who was taking the old route was fined for it. Like
Anybody's fine for it.
well, that just surprised me. They wouldn't have like a soft like 3-month
Why?
introduction.
It's cash cow, man.
Yeah, I guess
They're going to
like-
switch. I think every 6 months they're going to switch it. Just when you get used to it, they're going to switch it and make the other way to cash cow.
Oh man, I hope not. I guess I was just holding out that like we still had a soul, you know.
Nah, man, we're soulless. We don't care.
'Cause that's why I stopped going to Destin. You know, I mean, I'll drive through
Yeah.
Destin to get to places, and when Annie and I are feeling fancy, we'll go out to 30A and have dinner or something. But Destin is just—it's like it's all plastic. There's
Yeah.
like no raw materials and no permanent residents left. It's just all vacationers.
Yep.
I mean,
It's annoying.
I can't find a mom and pop oyster shack, but I can find a Bubba Gumps, and that bothers me.
Yeah, well, you know what's interesting too though, about the concept of like tourism, which is like I'm not against other. It's not that I go other people stay away, don't come here.
Yeah.
Stay away, don't come here. But you know, like I said, when you turn nature into a cash cow, you go to a holiday destination, a tourist destination, the prices are going to be inflated, everything's going to be inflated. You're going to pay more for food, you're going to pay more for your hotel rooms, you're going to pay more for your gas, you're going to pay for all that stuff.
Right.
And the people that work in the area, we don't get compensated more like on a tourist level.
Right.
You know, we are still making the same as we would be making in a non-tourist town, but our prices are more because we're in a tourist town.
Right. Right.
It's a little annoying.
I mean, how's that for you? Like, because you're like, your bread and butter is still like from the service industry. So like working in like
I've been in crappy restaurants all my life, even before they really heavily hammered the tourist industry. I feel like the money that I make per hour is really good, but you know, I am I'm just as much as part of the problem. I can't necessarily blame the industry and not blame myself. I think that's one of the biggest problems of the world. We kind of like look at these other groups. They go, oh, they did it. Mm-hmm. My group's crystal clean. It's just that these handpicked individuals are a little bit screwed. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. I just wonder if it changed your perspective at all, because like you see it like from the back of the house, you see the people coming in, you see like...
Oh yeah, the customers suck. We hate them.
I just didn't know if like you like just working behind the scenes like that, because like I don't work in kitchens, but like I love hanging out with cooks, chefs, bartenders, like, because those are the real people. They're the nuts and bolts making the machine run.
Yeah.
Everything else is set dressing.
Yep.
And like I just didn't know if you felt like you carried a unique perspective, because like you're in with these people who are making the industry run, but you kind of have a behind the scenes look at like as things develop.
It's interesting, like my specific restaurant, and it sucks I've already said the name, because I wish at this point now I could keep it anonymous, but whatever.
You can cut it out if you like.
Yeah, let's take out the name. Everybody that owns the restaurant, all of my bosses were brought down from Georgia. And they ran restaurants up there for 12 years, at the height of when Atlanta was really going off. I worked in Atlanta for 2.5 years up in Buckhead. Hated Atlanta, love Atlanta, but I hated working there, hated living there.
Yeah.
So, bring down all these people to fill all the top level positions, and then hire, locals to fill the crappy hourly positions. And then they open up a second one, bring down more people from Georgia, hire the locals for the crappy hourly positions. And it's just sort of I don't know, colonization through economic slavery. No, not really. I mean, not as drastic, but in a sense, yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in the taxation as theft category, so I appreciate that metaphor. I mean,
yeah,
it works.
Yeah, and you're kind of in it too, I mean.
Oh, I know. I'm.
You were in it.
Yeah.
Like I supply the food, you supply the room and shelter. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I look in the mirror and think about that like at least twice a week, but I reconcile it by knowing that of the places I work, the company I'm with, they are really committed to doing things as well by the people and as well by the environment as possible, like as much as you can in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
They try to go for that triple bottom line of like people, planet, then the profit.
Right.
It's like so. Doesn't change what we're doing, but the approach to it is as benevolent towards the community as it can possibly be.
Well, at some point, though, I mean, if the idea of a business is to grow and grow and grow, like, I guess that really is more of if once you hit like a board of directors and that sort of thing. So I guess like on a local level, someone asked me before, what's the worst thing about your job? And the one thing I could think of was how much friggin' food we throw away.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so, it's heartbreaking. And it's not because it's gone bad or it's rotten or anything like that, but it's just past date, or, oh, this isn't up to speed. Let's just toss this. It's like, that's just 15 gallons of food that just needs a little bit of salt. Like, really? We're just going to toss it and start all over? 100% right, 100% wrong. Be damned, there are people who need food, and we're just going to throw 15 gallons of it away.
Well, my wife, who works for Man of Food Pantry, is like dancing in the background behind you. So if you need a place to send it,
but we can't though because it's already prepared food.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, we have to throw it away. We can't even eat it. We can't. Well, they won't let us eat it or take it home. And it's to me that's the worst thing. It's not the hours or the fact that our all of our sinks leak and our floors our drains don't drain and our coolers don't cool or you cut your fingers. None of that stuff is what really bothers me. It's stuff like that kills me, or like the drive of depletion of seafood in the Gulf of Mexico, Like, I think back when I was a little kid, we used to go to the beach. There was fish everywhere. You would be in the water. If you had a little cut or whatever, there would be 10,000 fish picking all that dead skin off of you.
Yeah.
And these days, you're,
yeah, it's not.
It's nothing like that, And I think about that, and I don't mean it like, well, back in my day sort of thing, but that's a severe depletion of seafood, and I helped drive that industry. We are way off photography at this point.
Yeah. I can trim out as much of this as you.
Oh no, I don't
want.
care. We can talk about most things. Let's avoid military, religion, politics.
I can do that.
Yeah. Everything else. Well, I guess this is all sort of quasi-political to some degree. We're discussing capitalism and the drive of tourism and
Yeah.
the bottom dollar.
I mean, I did have one. I can trim this out totally, but I was genuinely curious. Do you think artists are getting lazy in the Trump era just because, like, art about politics has become so easy to do? Do you think people are getting lazy?
You know, probably, and I'll tell you why. I started. It was back in January. I was like, you know what? Fuck this guy, man. He's an asshole. I don't like him. I'm gonna do a series of photos, and I'm gonna get women who are atypically pretty, who have body image issues, or maybe have very specific things that Donald Trump talked about. For instance, she's very flat-chested. She could never be a 10. And I was gonna do these paintings. I was gonna paint these words on these women, and I was like, okay, let me go collect some quotes. And I was like, okay, I got like 18 really good quotes, and started the process. Got like 3 girls in, and was like Googling it, and then I found these pictures of a girl who had already done pretty much the exact same thing. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But hers was like, it had already been like sort of blown up a little bit. It was like on BuzzFeed or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess I'm scrapping that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that laziness, when you have something that so many people oppose, and so many people, like, creative types tend, generally speaking, to be liberal. Not always, but generally speaking. And I feel that it is because there are so many people who are artists, and there is sort of a standard theme that runs throughout Trump's ordeal. I think it's pretty easy just to go, oh, let's just make him go and put him in a diaper, with a missile up his butt or whatever. Sure, that's easy. Yeah, I think so. But I don't think it's lazy. I think it's just, you're frustrated, and there's these instant things that you grab a hold of, and it just kind of, like, I've seen a lot of bad artwork come out of it. But, there's so many bad artists, there's going to be so much bad art.
Oh, yeah, and I get that. I guess it's been on my mind lately because, like, this is a topic that's on my mind totally apart from, like, whatever someone's political views are. I'm just like, what is stretching you?
Yeah.
And because I'm firmly libertarian myself. I didn't care for either candidate.
Right.
But the situation that I see, and this stretches, like, from, all the fuss about Colbert on late night with some stuff he said a while back, down to, like, people locally. It's like, there are so many things you could talk about, and everyone's like bum rushing this one topic, and I'm like, well, that's cool, nothing wrong with that, but it becomes less interesting when there's that many people doing it, and at least it does to me. I don't know if that's a case of one, but I'm just like, because we were talking earlier about artistic integrity and like doing your thing, like if it's coming from an artist's own perspective, I get it, but I'm just concerned that like so many people are taking their own views and like infusing it into their art full time right now, that I don't know, I just see like it doesn't seem as interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I get it, red, blue, yellow, whatever your political affiliation is, I get it, that's come through, but it's been like 6 months of it now, and I'm just like, guys, there's other stuff going on.
Well, there are a lot of people who are genuinely touched by political policies.
Right.
You're a straight, healthy Christian white male. I'm a straight, healthy male,
Yeah.
white male. So we've got it good in America. And there are a lot of people though who don't have it good, and they see not just necessarily the things he's done as president, but his whole build up to it, and
Right.
just who he is really kind of as a person. As a persona, not necessarily
Yeah.
a person, because we don't know who he is as a person. He
Yeah.
doesn't know who he is as a person. So, yeah, they become lazy. Yes, it may be irritating, but I feel like that they want to make the squeak as loud as possible. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and they're trying to make the squeak as loud as possible.
Yeah.
Colbert, to me, is hilarious. I love Colbert because, to me, like, I don't know, I don't follow Donald Trump on Twitter. I know he goes off on these rants. I know he's like just looking at his behavior over the generations that I've been alive, or the decades that I've been alive, and, looking at his career, he's very needy. He needs the attention, and I feel like that this sort of negativity that he receives is sort of a blow to his ego, which I think is what the purpose of all this is. Just a constant barrage of arrows, a hailstorm of pebbles will take down a wall.
Yeah. Is it weird to be living out Back to the Future too?
It kind of is. Yeah, it's a little weird right now. It is a little weird.
No, it's this whole situation. Like, I wake up every day and I'm just like, well, those aliens that run our simulation are just messing with us again, because there's a picture of Kanye West with Donald Trump at the Trump Tower. So now,
What the hell, man?
I mean, I don't care where you are on any spectrum. Stuff like that just messes with your head.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happening?
Yeah, what is going on? Kanye West and Donald Trump chilling at Trump Towers. Something is wrong here. Donald Trump being president of the United States, like, well, I can see how it happened, but just like I'm flabbergasted by it, and just remembering just over the years all the stuff, man.
Yeah, the sad thing is,
fake college and everything.
Oh yeah, and I think he's flabbergasted by it too. Like, have you seen
I think he is.
Have you seen those memes of the kid going down the slide and his face just gets more and more peeled back? I feel like that's him right now. Like, what the crap, I won. Now what?
Wait a minute, I'm not supposed to say that about Russia. Did I or did I not talk to Russia? Tell me.
You ever listen to Bill Burr?
He's a comedian, right?
Yeah.
Occasionally, yeah.
Angry redheaded Irish guy.
Yeah.
Boston guy with an Irish heritage. He was like saying, I just get this image in my head of Trump like 3 a.m. in his gold toe socks, walking back and forth in his room, just getting more and more revved up. And he's just got to tweet something.
It's true, man. Yeah. It's true, but whatever.
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
Politics.
I didn't mean to go too far.
Oh no, it's totally cool, because it is still funny,
Yeah.
And we're fortunate enough, you and I, to be able to stand at a point where we can sort of laugh at it, going, ha ha ha, and we'll go to bed tonight, and we know that 0 of our rights will be impinged upon tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And that to me is a scary thing, I think, for a lot of people. Not necessarily it didn't happen to them, but just that it's going to happen to anybody at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's strange times, but the cool thing is, you're still taking pictures. I'm still taking pictures. We can still push through this however we can.
Yeah, and in 1 to 7 more years, we'll be rid of him.
Yeah, and maybe by then the cost of film will have come down some, because I feel like films like the Pabst Blue Ribbon of photography supplies right now, you told hipsters it was good, so you can mark it up more.
Charge more for it. And what's funny is you don't really see too many of the film prints. You see the prints, you see the digital shots of people holding the film cameras. And it's like, man, get over your lifestyle photography garbage.
Did you ever follow Socality Barbie on Instagram?
No.
Oh, dude. Okay, so it was the funniest thing. There's all these
like a fake Barbie, like an actual Barbie doll.
It was a Barbie, yeah.
Yeah. I've heard about her. Yeah. I've seen it.
Did you ever look at it closely?
Not really.
This young lady up in Portland or something, she took this Barbie doll and made clothes for it, and just would follow these lifestyle girls on Instagram who are always making their life look as picture perfect as possible with their ice cream cones and their shawls and their lattes. And she mimicked that with a Barbie doll and would write the most purposefully pretentious captions possible. And there's a doctoral thesis somewhere in that project, because she really called out all these tropes and all these little narcissistic things. And there's such a self-awareness deficit in this country right now. People don't even realize how they are just falling into that trap. Come on in.
It's probably locked.
Actually, let me check that. Hang on. Yeah, come on in.
How are you?
Come on in. Have you ever met Adam Moon?
I don't know that I have. Yeah.
Adam Moon, Nathan Monk.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
That's it.
Nice to see you.
All right. Yeah, we got started a little late. I didn't realize it was 7 o'clock already.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We were pushing my bedtime here.
Yeah, I know you got to get up
Are you
early.
the photographer?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I follow you on Instagram.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Actually, we've known each other since MySpace days too.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny
I
town.
think you photographed my ex-sister-in-law, Danny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She used to be married to my brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did she move back here, or do you know? Do you ever keep up with that?
She said she was going to.
And then
like,
never
last I
did.
talked to her and she had.
This is all on air too. This is great.
Oh, we can keep it or trim it out, but I didn't realize it was so late. So,
It's all right.
Adam, you want to wind this sucker up? Cause,
Yeah, we can. I'm down to come back too. This wasn't nearly
Would you?
as painful as I thought it was going to be.
'cause
Yeah.
that would be great because it's
Yeah.
been really fun just hang out with you. Like we haven't had a face to face in so long that
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
it's been cool to catch up.
All right.
Yeah.
Nothing too scary happened. All right.
Yeah,
Didn't get catfished.
No, it's actually me. It's actually someone who has no chance. So, Adam, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, good to see you too.
Fucker, I can brains.